like your parents were. You are the secret force of hope.
They're moving real fast, they're the only one who can get there on time. They're never too far behind, they're always fighting crime. Undercover, facing adventure in the danger zone. Pretty soon they'll be off on a mission. Come and watch them go. Sun doesn't shine. What's the highest and show? Sun doesn't shine. When is that on the road? Sun doesn't shine. Just sit back and watch them go.
One of the main reasons I had in the first place for making this particular show on YouTube was the fact that there is such an oversaturation of Saturday morning cartoons, and it leaves a great degree of amazing shows that, even though they may gain a large following at the time, or some develop cult followings later on, some others can still manage to fall through the cracks and fall under people's radars. It was my objective with this show to widen the net of amazing shows that people have come to watch and appreciate. And nowhere does that idea ring truer than in Moon Scoop's magnum opus, Code Lyoko. In more recent years, the idea of watching multiple shows that come from multiple different countries is a little bit more commonplace than it used to be. Say in the 1990s or the 2000s, we did start to get, more of an influx of Japanese anime, both subbed and dubbed, coming to the United States, but little did people realize that there were other countries occasionally trying to make their mark in the American mainstream. Code Lyoko was one of the most successful of those examples, coming to America not from Japan, but from France. Code Lyoko originates from the short film Les Enfants font leur cinéma, The Children Make Their Movies, directed by Thomas Romain and produced by a group of students from the Parisian visual arts school, Gobelin's School of the Image. I really hope I pronounced all that right. Garage Kids, which was the name of the show that they created at the time, eventually evolved into the name that we're most familiar with today, Code Lyoko. Code Lyoko follows 5 French boarding school students that in their free time decide to plunge themselves into a Matrix-like digital world called Lyoko, where they escort a girl named Aelita past mobs of evil robots to restabilize a system core to prevent an apocalyptic disaster at the hands of an evil artificial intelligence named Xana, by using sci-fi style hacking, teamwork, and a convenient ability to turn back time as we know it. I never said that this was a simple show. As fun and unique as that premise can sound, it's, I think, the way they decide to go about executing it that I think is going to determine whether or not people are going to like this show or not. Rock-solid serialized content is something that does exist in Saturday morning cartoon shows, but they are few and far between. Code Lyoko does actually have a deep and well-developed story over the course of its 5 seasons, but it is just that, 5 whole seasons. So you can watch an individual episode raw and still be able to enjoy its animation, characters, or its individual story, but fair warning, if you really want to dive deep into what makes this such an amazing show, you're actually going to have to start from episode 1 and work your way on through its 97 episode run. And as amazing as this show is, it is a bit intimidating with as many shows as you have to watch today to dedicate yourselves to 97 episodes. Without getting too much into spoilers, the week-to-week plot of the show follows the evil artificial intelligence Xana having some sort of isolated hack of something in the real world that causes it to transform into something evil and causing a panic amongst the people of the school. 4 of our 5 heroes jump into the world of Lyoko, while our designated tech genius Jeremy guides them from the outside. They fight off evil robot monsters and escort Aelita to reset the core, even though for some reason they've discovered that she is the only one who's able to do this. After that, they reset time, get Xana out of the real world, and nobody is the wiser. Later on in the show, they're going to change up the status quo in a couple of different big ways based on major plot events, but for the most part, this is the main structure you're going to expect going into it. Character-wise, our team of 6 offers some memorable and diverse personalities that build from popular and often overused stereotypes and turns them into well-developed characters in their own right. Jeremy is the brains of the operation. While his knowledge of technology is often helpful throughout the show, it's clear that throughout the show that he does actually have a deep-seated frustration that he's not able to fight off Xana in a more direct way like the other members of the team are. This also works alongside his slow and unintentional falling in love for Aelita, who during the early seasons of the show is left ambiguous if she is an artificial intelligence or a human somehow unable to escape the world of Lyoko. Ulrich is the leader of the group, and while on the surface he may seem like the too cool for everybody standoff archetype, learning that these traits are a result of his overbearing parents and extreme introversion quickly make him a more relatable character. It's by his close-knit relationship with his friends and time spent throughout the series dealing with more people and growing to have stronger friendships with them that he's able to break away from his hard emotional exterior, and we get to see more of actually who he is as a character. Yumi is a new transfer student to the boarding school and is the only non-French main character of the cast, as she and her family are actually from Japan rather than France. Because of this, a lot of her character is in response or occasionally in direct rebellion to her family's pressure for higher grades and traditional values. This helps break her out of the quick goth girl stereotype that is often attributed to female characters, as she deals with a lot of these sort of anxieties not through withdrawal, but through anger, sarcasm, and gallows humor. The constantly implied will they won't they relationship between her and Ulrich is actually a major standby of the series, but even as friends, their relationship is a major high point of the show's mature writing. Odd is a fitting name for who is essentially the Michelangelo of the show. He's actually quite smart, but because of his laziness, it's not really acknowledged that much. His character works mostly in the same way that most comic relief characters are used in this kind of show. Usually a bit more in the background compared to others, but occasionally the comic relief is lifted up in order to allow a bit more deep development. He also has an adorable dog named Kiwi, and that's about all I have to say about him. And, you know, Kiwi's kind of adorable, as most dogs go. Aelita, by the very nature of her character, is shrouded in a lot of mystery at first, but as they stand out as a second, but very different and unique female character in the show. She is incredibly smart, filled with unbreakable optimism. I find her character immediately comparable to that of Starfire from Teen Titans. The idea to be able to make the fish out of water trope work in a way that she comes off as more curious than she does as stupid. Unlike Yumi, who's a far more abrasive and direct character, Aelita is a lot more on the gentle or fragile side. But I find it's through her vulnerability that I find relatability in her character. With great serialized story and characters aside, let's address the more obvious main appeal of the show, the animation. In order to accomplish the digital world aesthetic, they actually use two completely separate styles of animation throughout the show. The real world is shown in much more of a traditional, although clearly anime-inspired 2D animation, while the world of Lyoko portrayed in the stylized computer-generated 3D animation. Keep in mind that the show aired in 2003, so while the particular style of primitive 3D animation can often not hold up well, in the early 2000s, the CGI in the show was actually pretty comparable to what was used in video games at the time. On top of that, they were able to keep the show very stylized and simple, in the same way that something like The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker holds up despite the fact that it's not the most technically proficient game in the world. Within the two animation styles, we not only get to see what multiple different characters look like, changing from 2D to 3D, but in the world of Lyoko, our heroes gain new character-specific outfits and special abilities that give the show a more superhero-like aesthetic, with a tone and atmosphere all its own. If I had anything to list as a negative of the show, it'd probably potentially be the intricacies of the storylines, as, although I really do like them most of the time, they aren't without their lulls, their filler arcs, or their occasional WTF moments. Outside of that, as much as I love the main cast, a good portion of the supporting cast are written to be intentionally annoying, and the executions of such definitely have a very varied degree of success and failure. On the whole, though, I'm really excited about the fact that Code Lyoko did get its time in the sun the way that it did. It had multiple seasons in the US, far more than most shows get, was kept on the air specifically because of fan backlash when the show was threatened to be canceled, and even got a live-action spin-off sequel that ended up airing in France. For those of you guys who like serialized shows, or maybe something a little bit on the weird and out there side, I really would recommend Code Lyoko, as I think that it's a show that definitely, as much of a cult following as it has garnered, there are still plenty of people out there that hasn't seen this show, and I definitely recommend checking it out. That's all the time we have for today, ladies and gentlemen. Please feel free to leave your comments below. Feel free to like this video and subscribe for more episodes of Saturday Morning Fever, airing every Saturday on the Dead Man Inc. YouTube channel. Until then, my name is Ken Johnson, and I will see you next time on Saturday Morning Fever.
Il existe un monde